Well, hopefully everybody's having a fantastic day. We're going to start off, it's Sunday, so we're going to start off doing our Weather 101 segment. So our Weather 101 segment is going to be done every Sunday. You can find it on Facebook. You can find it online Sundays right around the lunchtime hour. This week, what we're going to be talking about is something that's pretty common here along the coast this time of year, and that is a sea breeze. That's what tends to keep our beaches quite a bit cooler, especially during the afternoon hours of the spring. We get warm during the morning times, but by the time we head into the afternoon hours, we saw it in this past week, and we'll see it in future weeks coming up, where in locations they can reach the mid 80s, maybe even the upper 80s to close to 90 degrees, while the beaches sometimes could be at the exact same time in the 50s or the low 60s. Well, there's a reason that happens, and the reason is that sea breeze. So let's just get it started. We're going to pull off to a wider view on this graphic just to explain just the sea breeze, what a sea breeze is. So what a sea breeze is what's happening here is we're seeing, well, differences in temperatures. What's happening is the land heats up a whole lot faster than the water heats up. Water is very slow to see its temperature change. That's why the warmest water temperatures during the summertime in the Atlantic and in the bays typically is in September, because it takes a very long time for the air temperatures to heat up that water. So we still got some very cool waters off of our coast. The land doesn't take that long to heat up. That's why we get these 80-degree days, 90-degree days during the spring. So as the land is heating up, what happens is, well, warm air rises. So what happens is as the land heats up, air starts to rise, and what's left right at the ground surface is less air pressure, which means there's an area of low pressure that starts to develop. But the opposite is happening at sea. You're actually seeing colder air developing. So that cold air, well, the air starts to sink across the area and creates an area of high pressure. So there's a bit of an uneven area with the area of low pressure inland and that area of high pressure in the ocean. The atmosphere wants to balance out. So what happens in this circumstance when there's a sea breeze, as well, we're going to pull up to this wider view, is the air that is really starting to develop, that high pressure that is developing at the sea, wants to go to that area of low pressure to balance things out. So all of a sudden, you see the wind, it pushes the air inland. And that air is coming over top of some very cool waters. And what happens is our temperatures go from maybe being in the mid 80s, even at the beaches, to falling down into the 60s, into the 50s. It falls down to what the actual air temperature is, or what the actual water temperature is. So if the water temperature is 55 degrees and that air is coming off the water, probably going to be in the upper 50s. But as you get later in the spring, that water temperature starts to rise. You don't get those greater pressure differences. That's why typically during the summer, you get sea breezes, but they're going to become less and less often as you get later into the season, because that water temperature starts to rise, and then you don't see as big of a pressure difference, and sea breezes don't happen as often. So, well, that's this week's Weather 101 on sea breezes. If you have any questions about sea breezes, or if you have any ideas for future Weather 101s, future things that you want to learn about when it comes to the weather, when it comes to the climate, when it comes to what's happening in our office here as meteorologists, what do meteorologists do? Well, just drop those questions in our Facebook comments, or also just send us a message here at CoastTV News. So that's this week's Weather 101, and we're going to wrap that up. But like I said, if you have any questions for any future ones or any suggestions for any future ones, please send that to us. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.